Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be showing you how I made a miniature autumn wreath for my 12th scale doll's house apartment using just a few materials and some really simple steps. To begin, I laid out a piece of greaseproof paper and then I used Yoo-hoo glue to draw out a circular shape for the wreath. This glue dries fairly quickly but not too quickly, so there's still some time to adjust things as you go. As you can see, this glue is nearly finished, but I wanted to use the last of it up. In my last miniatures video, I showed you how to make mini tiny autumn leaves. I'll pop the link in the description if you'd like to see how I made them. So once the glue was ready, I carefully started adding those little leaves all the way around the circle. I actually enjoyed making these mini wreaths so much that I made a second wreath for my mum's doll's house, her Wind in the Willows doll's house, and also a third one, and I don't know where I'll put that. Last week I went on a little trip to London and we actually stayed just outside of the city in a beautiful picturesque village. And in this village there was a pine tree. And underneath it I found some tiny little seed pods, and I thought they looked just like miniature pine cones. Just a little reminder, if you're collecting things from nature, please always be careful. Don't disturb wildlife or pick anything that's still growing, and keep an eye out for anything spiky, stingy or potentially poisonous. And obviously don't pick those things up. To prepare the seed pods, I carefully trimmed off the ends using a sharp Stanley knife, and I made sure to go slowly and, well, keep my fingers well out of the way, although it didn't look like that's what I was doing here, so if you're doing something similar, be careful. Please don't trim this so close to your fingertips. I liked the one on the right the best, so these were the type that I decided to use. I was calling these seed pods, but I've just quickly checked and they're actually called male catkins, and they produce the pollen and release the pollen from the pine tree. Now I'm not sure if these catkins will hold their shape over time or if they'll start to break down, but for now I think they look lovely as mini pine cones. What would you add to your mini wreath? I think tiny cinnamon sticks or miniature dried orange slices would look lovely. Please let me know your ideas in the comments because I always love to hear them. To attach the little pine cones, I used a tiny bit of super glue. If you're working with any adhesives, make sure to always read and follow the instructions and safety warnings on the packaging. This super glue did have some instructions for safety whilst I was using it, which I followed, but obviously all glues are going to be different, so make sure you double check. My mum's wreath is slightly larger than mine because her Wind in the Willows house is a bit of a bigger scale than 12th scale. And a few videos ago I actually made her a mini 4-poster bed, although I actually made it in 12th scale by mistake, so I need to go back and help her to adjust the height a little bit. If you'd like to see a video all about her Wind in the Willows house, please let me know because I will film a little bit of it if you're interested. While the glue was drying, I made a tiny bow out of twine. So I started by separating the strands to make the twine more to 12th scale, and then I actually used a glue stick to just keep the fibres nice and neatly together. Once the bow was ready, I attached it to the wreath with a dot of super glue. When everything was completely dry, I used a palette knife to gently lift the wreath away from the greaseproof paper. And then I added a tiny loop to the back, also made from twine so that it can be hung up. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to hang it to, so I need to have a little think about how to make a hook to pop onto the doll's house door. And that was 2 of the miniature wreaths finished. The third one still wasn't dry at this point. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed the video, and thank you as well to anyone who's been watching my Interrailing Diaries series. I'll pop the playlist in the description if you haven't seen it yet. I'm still adding more episodes, and I'd love to hear your ideas for miniatures that I could make to represent each part of my journey, because I want to make a little miniature for each part of our interrailing adventures to go into my doll's house, so I'd love your ideas. Thanks again for watching. I really hope that you've enjoyed it, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye!